What a year this has been with generative AI and conversational AI more broadly. I was flipping through the slides yesterday, and I was reflecting on the deck would have been so different if it was prepared literally just 10 months ago. And the GenAI revolution that we've all been part of has really just transformed our product portfolio, your expectations, and where the industry is headed. But one thing that actually has not changed, 5 years ago when I actually co-founded Contact Center AI, we were very sure about this industry because we knew this would be the first adopter of AI. And Contact Center was ripe for that, and we've seen that play out over 5 years. And even with all the Gen AI buzz, I think one thing that everyone agrees with is that Contact Center is literally the single biggest use case, or at least the first use case that will come to market with Gen AI solutions. I think we can all give ourselves a round of applause for that, for being literally at the vanguard of this. So we have a packed session today. We'll try to squeeze out time for Q&A at the end, but if we don't manage to do that, you can always catch us at the booth downstairs. So I'm Shantanu. I'm Group Product Manager with our Contact Center AI team. I have with me Mina, my colleague who leads go-to-market solution for all of CCAI and beyond. We have with us two customers who are going to be talking about their journey with Google. We have Alex from Gen Digital, who's going to be talking about being an early adopter of CCI Platform and how now they're doubling down on Google. And Swarup from Wells Fargo is going to be talking about the Fargo journey, which was a conversational AI solution that they developed with Google. So we're going to be covering a lot of topics. As I said, we have a packed agenda, but we'll try to squeeze in some time towards the end for Q&A as well. If we think about contact centers, the pain points are basically the same as we have seen over the years, which is users are frustrated. They don't want to wait in long queues. We have huge agent turnover. 30–40% of the agents quit their job in the first year itself. So we have huge onboarding time, and you need to sort of empower the agent to handle complex questions. And then you have contact center operations, which is trying to sort of juggle these different hats, trying to increase revenue while also lowering cost, and designing this customer experience just takes months and quarters. So all those problems, like if I were to present this slide 3 years ago, it'll basically be similar problems. But I think what has changed is the expectations. The expectation that an end user has when it reaches out to a business. Because end users are now used to tools like Bard and other tools in the market where they can get these GenAI powered answers very quickly. So they have very little empathy when businesses put them on hold for 10 minutes or struggle to find an answer to a question, which is very, very easy. And also, what I've observed over the last few months is that organizations' expectations have changed as well. Like we would go in with the customer and we'll try to sort of create a conversational AI solution, and it was totally okay for us to spend 6 months doing that. But that's no longer the case. We want solutions to start adding value day one onwards, and organizations expect Google and other providers to be able to match that expectation. So when we think of CCAI, we really think of that in terms of 4 broad pillars. Our approach is AI first, and it has been that since day one. And in some ways these products are arranged in sort of order of when they actually launched, but also in terms of the user journey. You typically get started off with the virtual agent, which is powered by Dialogflow. Dialogflow is a solution that's been GA for 5+ years. For each of these solutions, we're going to be talking about how we are creating the next generation version of that powered by LLM. After Dialogflow, the call gets escalated to a human agent. You have Agent Assist, which is a suite of tools which helps the agent answer the question better. And you can imagine if the virtual agent is doing its job really, really well, it's really the tough questions that end up with the live agents, and they really need to be empowered to handle those questions. With CCI Insights, which is our third pillar, what we're really trying to do is make sense of the dark data that exists in your contact centers, which is not being used to take business decisions today. And we believe with, uploading audio or transcripts, using our transcription tools to do that, and then trying to make sense of that data can unlock a lot of value for businesses. And we have already seen that happening in multiple customers with CCI Insights. And finally, CCI Platform, which we launched last year, which is our CCaaS solution. And the whole idea behind CCI Platform was, we had these great AI services, but our customers were struggling with integrating it with their existing solutions. There used to be long lead times, and we really wanted to create an AI-first CCaaS solution, where AI is not an afterthought, where getting access to Google's solution is literally a click of a button. And we have seen huge success with CCI Platform, and we have Jen Digital who's going to be talking more about it in a moment. As you know, and I think as Thomas Kurian and Sundar mentioned in their keynotes, our approach to Gen AI is comprehensive. So if you are a developer that wants to play with the models or build a custom model, you can use solutions like Vertex AI or Model Garden to be able to do that. If you want access to an AI platform where you can, do prompt tuning, do evals, you can do that with our AI platform. With CCAI and similar solutions, what we're really trying to do is make all of that complexity simpler for you and present it to you in a way that makes sense for you. So when it comes to, pricing it in a way that makes sense for you, or integrating it in a way that makes sense for you, or tuning these AI models to make sure that they address your use cases really, really well. I'm going to be talking more about CCI services and specifically about what are the new things we are bringing to you and we are announcing today, which are powered by LLMs, which really elevate the experience. And I wanted to play this video just to give you a glimpse of that. I know there's a lot in there, but we're going to sort of unpack that over the course of this presentation and really talk about what are the tools that we are providing you to create an experience like that. So, as I mentioned, virtual agents powered by Dialogflow, with Dialogflow CX, we really provide you with a comprehensive suite through which to develop the virtual agent experience, when it comes to handling detours, gracefully handling fallbacks, with Dialogflow CX, you can handle all of that and do debugging, analytics, and everything that comes with it. But really want to focus on today is what are the new things that we are bringing to the market. And all these three are initiatives that we've been working on for a while, powered by LLM and generative AI. The first one is what we call the generative AI agent, which we also refer to it as sometimes as infobots, which is basically creating a virtual agent experience just by linking a source of information. So you literally just link, your website, FAQs, to the virtual agent, and you can have a conversational AI experience with it. So it's literally at the click of a button. And what we've seen in a lot of use cases where in the past, our customers would have translated their existing business knowledge into Dialogflow CX graphs. You don't need to do that anymore. You can just link those documents and it works out of the way. And we are announcing this in GA today. This has already been in production with multiple preview customers. I'm sure a lot of you have probably had access to this as well. And I'm going to talk more later about how this is also powering the agent-facing experience and making that better as well. The second key launch we have in virtual agent is what we call generative responses. So essentially, today, if you think about it, every single thing that your virtual agent can say has to be written in, whatever virtual agent solution you're using. But with generative AI, we can actually help generate those responses. And we can do that at the pace that you're comfortable with. So if you're comfortable the bot speaking generative AI responses only in case of a fallback, you can set that as well. Or for a given fulfillment, you can specify. So you have full control over when the generative part of the responses take over. The third key launch we have is what we call generative flows, which is launching in preview today, which is basically saying that you can write in natural language, in English, what the bot is supposed to do, and it'll do that. So for example, if you have a use case, of menu ordering, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the Wendy's booth downstairs, which is exactly the same use case. You can literally mention the menu and say, hey, virtual agent, you're supposed to behave like a very courteous, agent who can take orders from this menu. You can define the persona the way you want, and we have templates for that, and that's it. You don't have to go ahead and create sort of thousands of intents and pages and flows and go through all that effort. And really the theme that we're trying to hit on with this is the ultimate agent, the virtual agent that goes into production, is a much simpler graph than what you're used to. In the past, we have had, some of our power users will create, thousands of intents and pages because they needed to do that. You literally needed to teach your virtual agent how to speak English. But now you can really focus on the business rules and on the content of what the agent is supposed to talk about and not worry about, these scenarios, which end up sort of consuming a lot of your development time and a lot of sort of the agent size as well. The other thing I wanted to emphasize is this comes as part of Dialogflow. So we know most of the people in this room are already on a journey with Dialogflow. You don't have to replace all of that with this new experience. You can start augmenting your existing Dialogflow virtual agent with elements of generative AI. And that's very important because depending on the industry, depending on, what kind of an experience you want for your end users, your appetite for how generative the responses should be might be very different. And you get to decide which elements of your virtual agent are powered by these technologies versus which rely on the existing Dialogflow CX technology. We're also announcing Dialogflow Call Companion in preview, and it's what you saw in the video with the multimedia input. Dialogflow Call Companion powers it, which is basically while a voice call is going on, can we give an experience to the end user where they actually have on their browser, on their phone, a visual menu as well, using which they could navigate your IVRs. I wanted to spend some time on Agent Assist. So Agent Assist, as I mentioned, is a suite of features that we have to empower your agents to make them more productive. We are announcing today 2 new features, Knowledge Assist, which is launching in preview. And as I mentioned, you should think of this as the generative AI agent or the infobot for your live agent. So, think of 2 scenarios. Your agent is in a conversation with the end user, and they have an agent on which they could search for answers. But we actually want to elevate that experience and proactively provide suggestions to the agent while the conversation is going on. So the agent does not even need to search for it. Based on the conversation that's going on, our generative AI knowledge assist could tell them, hey, it seems the user is asking about this. This information already exists in the documents. Here you go. And made that experience better for them. Next, summarization is such a key sort of end of call activity that happens for some customers literally at the end of each call. We've had customers whose agents spend 90 seconds at the end of the call to summarize the conversation and fill all of that information in the system of record. We have been able to bring that time down to near zero. An LLM generated summary is better at compliance, which means every single call actually gets summarized. With your live agents, sometimes they do not summarize, and you have all sorts of summaries in different formats. It's better, of course, at spelling and making sure that it's actually human readable and understandable. And in terms of quality, we have seen the LLM baseline summarization to be as good as the human summarization. And you don't have to create a custom model. You don't have to spend 3 months trying to create something which is only for yourself. You can use our LLM summarization and get that job done. And it's something which has seen a lot of success over the last few months as organizations have started adopting generative AI. CCI Insights, as I said, tries to make sense of conversational data that you already have in your system. The way we do that is having annotations for this conversational data. So what are the key topics being discussed in the conversations? What are the key questions that the users are asking about? Can we summarize the conversation in Insights itself? How can we understand what are the key words which matter to you or key phrases and highlight that for you? And what do we do with that? We create custom metrics or aggregated metrics depending on your use case. So for example, if you have a quality management use case where you want to create an agent level dashboard, you can do that with these metrics. Or you want to really understand what are the key topics for virtual agent. With our topic modeling, you can figure out which of the topics which are being discussed and are simple enough for the virtual agent. You can design your agent training based on the insights that you glean from this. We're announcing today generative FAQ as part of Insights in preview. And what that does is really extract the key questions from your conversation. So you want to understand, hey, I have these millions of conversations that flow through my system. What are the questions that our users are really asking? And is my FAQ, is my agent training, is my virtual agent program aligned with that or not? And that has been very meaningful for customers because they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that there are X number of questions that our users are asking for because I thought my FAQ was robust and comprehensive or my agent training program was complete. And that's how generative FAQ is really being used to make it more dynamic instead of sort of once a year or once a 2-year process of figuring out what those FAQs would be. I want to spend some time talking about CCI Platform because, as I said, we've been very excited about this program. We launched it last year, and since then we have had, thousands of agents onboarded on CCI Platform. The message that we were trying to convey to the industry has resonated really, really well with customers and analysts. So what we're really doing is, as I said, bringing an AI-first approach to CCaaS instead of AI as an afterthought. We are trying to ensure that all of the GenAI LLM-driven capabilities that I talked about are available on day one on CCI Platform. So, we have, you might have your contact center provider taking whatever 6 months, 12 months to integrate with Google, but with Google CCI, you can just get it on day one itself. And it's also developed. CCI Platform co-develops these LLM capabilities along with the AI services so that integration itself is very smooth and is not hacky or just appears bolted on. We're also, with CCI Platform, we are also very keen on providing customers with turnkey solutions which are extendable. So you have a lot of CCaaS cloud-first players in the market which will provide you tools, but then you need to create an entire army of developers working on it for multiple months to spin up, a good experience for you. With CCI Platform, we want to make sure that you already have, these turnkey solutions or turnkey sort of templates that could get you started on day one itself. Today, we are announcing an IBA only version of CCI Platform. We understand, that, sometimes you have multi-year deals and moving from an on-prem contact center to a cloud contact center can be a multi-year journey. And we understand that. And that's why we created CCI Platform IBA only option, which gives you a way to consume all of our GenAI services by having a light touch pipeline going from your existing contact center to Google CCAI. And we can work with whatever infrastructure you have and really give you access to GenAI services as soon as possible. We're also announcing workforce management capabilities in CCI Platform today. And as I said, our idea with CCI Platform is to be as comprehensive as possible, and our WFM announcement is a key piece of that. When it comes to scheduling, forecasting, adherence, all the things I can imagine in a WFM system, all of that comes native as part of CCI Platform. And if you think about it, I talked about insights and trying to glean metrics and annotations out of every single conversation. Now that can actually feed into your WFO solutions and really make it much more powerful and much more dynamic than it used to be. Again, we work with your existing WFM and QM providers as well. We're announcing a partnership with Verint and Elveria, where if you have these solutions, CCI Platform can seamlessly integrate with that. So I'm now going to hand it over to Mina, who's our GTM lead, who's going to talk more about how we are bringing these solutions to market for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. GenAI conversation is always very dear to me. Guess what? In 2020, the LLM model we were building at Google was also called Mina. So I want to start off by taking you all back in time. A few years ago, we had a dream to transform the contact center space. And in this dream, we envisioned personalized, predictive, and memorable conversations elevating the self-service space. We thought about very happy, super productive human agents loving what they do, right? And being powered and coached by AI models on the fly. We envisioned business intelligence as well as insights being actionable and being offered to contact center leaders to make the toughest business decisions. And we wanted to orchestrate all of this via a CCaaS platform that's designed for scale, security, and speed. Now, as you all are aware, as we heard from Shantanu, we've had this live for a while now. But this vision got even grander because CCAI is going to be the launch vehicle to bring enterprise-ready generative AI, superpowering customer experiences. So, how do we make this real for you? So our focus is on choice and flexibility. One, you get to use the entire platform, right, with its full end-to-end offerings. Or two, you get to consume the latest and greatest of generative AI via your partnerships with OEMs. Or thirdly, as Shantanu just announced, you can use the CCI platform as a lightweight conduit, powering the latest and greatest of generative AI on your legacy infrastructure. So with this choice and flexibility in mind, here is how a transformation journey could look like. With our resilient focus on time to market, we have come up with 3 value packages. So from day 1 to 4 weeks, you can get info bots powered by generative AI up and running. You can have agent summarizations enabled, just like the demo that you saw around Symbol Bikes. And you can have insights topic modeling up and running, giving you insights into your call drivers and intents. So that's week 4. From week 4 to week 12, could be a great time to get chat and voice enabled for Agent Assist, as well as start augmenting and potentially replacing some of your speech applications. Thirdly, as you enter into month 3 and onwards, this is the time for you to bring in all of those transactional intents, as well as leverage custom LLM modeling for your unique business cases. So a transformation journey like this between day 0 to about 3 months and onwards can only be enabled when we have a large partner ecosystem. So I'm super excited to share with you all that we have over 50 partners and several thousands of subject matter experts who are trained to deliver these CCAI journeys for you at scale. With our partner ecosystem, what they come with is a very deep industry expertise, the operational know-how, and most importantly, the niche with respect to contact center skill sets, right? So, with all the latest and greatest of generative AI, as well as having partners with the know-how to implement the journey for you, what do you think success would look like? So, it's really the right time now to pivot into 2 very important customer journeys here. These are stories of innovation, excellence, as well as inspiration. Starting their journey on Dialogflow ES, automating chat conversations, and then expanding that to Dialogflow CX, focusing on the multi-language support, the omni-channel capabilities, and finally landing on the CCI platform, solving for the focus areas of innovation, scale, speed, and security. I'm extremely honored to welcome Alex Tran onto the stage as he's going to share the Gen Digital, T-Tech, and Google Better Together story. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Alex Tran. I am responsible for product development and operations at Gen. Within the consumer support and inside sales organization. Gen's portfolio includes Norden, Avast, LifeLock, Avira, AVG, Reputation Defender, and CCleaner. Our family of trusted consumer brands protects nearly 500 million consumers worldwide. At Gen, our mission is to create technology solutions for people and in order to make the most of the digital world, safely, privately, and confidential. To deliver excellent customer experience, an agent must be equipped with the right tools and trained to use the tools efficiently. We needed to consolidate our multiple telephony systems, carriers, CRMs, chat systems, workforce management, contact flows, and AI automation across all of our brands. We recently consolidated onto a contact solution to Google's Contact Center AI platform. So why did we choose Google? At Gen, we believe that AI services applied to the contact center space on an end-to-end platform would dominate customer service. We would believe that would transform the customer and agent experience and leapfrog the industry. Gen needed a solution that supported integrated AI, a real-time machine translation, language translator across all channels, including voice. We wanted a bring your own carrier solution that meted our business needs: stability, security, speed of deployment, a conversation engine that can be scaled across all channels, and finally, an AI solution that could keep up with the rapid innovation, partner up with a leader in this space. So how did the implementation go? We have over 7,000 phone numbers, domestic and international, 300 plus call flows, 2,000 plus agents, multiple carriers, 10 plus delivery locations. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot. Introduction. 10 plus delivery locations and 21 languages. Across all of our brands, we have experience with multiple telephony, chat, and CRM providers. We have experience with every type of contact center environment: on-premise, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. We tried them all. Based on our experience, the time that it takes to migrate just one single voice platform takes anywhere between 7 months to 1 year. And that's provided that you have a seasoned crew, that this crew owns product development, operations, and infrastructure and development. With CCIP, we deliver not only one, but 2 telephony migration in 4.5 months. So basically, we received our environment freshly formatted in mid-April, and that's this mid-April of 2023. We started the rollout to all of our contact centers beginning of August, and we completed the last one last night. So with previous migrations, this would have taken approximately 2 years. So one of our key business KPIs are service level, average handle time, queue time, wait time, calls handle. We were able to reach stability within the first 1 to 2 weeks. Pretty amazing. And this is really a phenomenal indication that our agents are trained, they're familiar with the new UI, they understand the new processes. We have our agents' profiles correctly configured and migrated, and we have calls routing to the right queues. So how were we able to accomplish this feat? So we partnered with T-Tech, a premier system integrator for Google, and T-Tech has their own contact center BPO business that is currently also adopting Google CCIP. So they have to get this right. Okay. Our partnership with Google gave us an opportunity to adjust priorities of the critical features that we needed at Gen. There were some gaps. There were absolutely some gaps. But Amit, Carolyn, and the product team at Google did us a solid. We were able to influence the roadmap and quickly close the gaps and meet our timelines. So additionally, we're also in the process of moving chat, which we estimated to be completed in 3 to 4 months, which is another record for us. So what's been the impact to our business? Well, we realized our synergy goals. a reduction in platform and infrastructure costs. Google's voice network architecture gives you the ability to ingress the customer call at the closest point to the customer, send it over Google's high-speed network, and egress the call to the closest to the agent's client. And what that resulted in is outstanding, high-fidelity audio without the need for costly MPOS networks. We have a single pricing licensing model for all of our channels. So whether it's voice, chat, SMS, email, messenger, social, this allows us to engage our customer on the channel that works best for them. And we have the ability to scale our licensing up or down based on seasonal traffic. So we started our journey with Dialogflow in 2018, right as it went GA. And we needed a conversation engine that was portable. We didn't want to be in a position where we had to rebuild all of our automation and from scratch. And since we transitioned to Dialogflow, we migrated our chat platforms 3 times. And in every instance, we did not need to redo our automation. We get about 30% containment from voice and 40% from chat. So the Google SaaS model gives us the ability to try out new features without all of the upfront investment and commitments. Looker, BigQuery, Vertex AI, Agent Assist, speech to text, sentiment. So what's next? What is the future? What's in store for Gen in the future? So there's been a lot of conversation at this conference about Vertex AI. For Gen, we are interested in AI to assist our customers and our agents. So at the end of every contact, agents spend several minutes to summarize the case and to classify the type of call. Operationally, we want to get to a granular case type. But what we found out is that the longer the list we make, the agents just choose the first option from the list. So we believe that we can leverage Vertex AI and Agent Assist to significantly reduce the time that it takes to summarize and classify the case. We want to enable our agents with AI-powered conversations for all of our voice and digital channels. To provide our 500 million customers with a personalized experience, we need to identify the customer. 2, we need to disposition their needs. And 3, we need to route them to the appropriate queue, whether it's self-help or to an agent. AI routing will be a big part of the customer journey. We want to use AI recommendation for cross-sells and upsells. We want to leverage Google Dialogflow's native integration with generative AI. So when we're unable to detect a customer's intent, we can fall back on generative AI to provide the knowledge. There are times where you need to have both a directive conversation, like performing a multi-step transaction. We need the ability to switch between directive and a generative conversation, and Dialogflow makes that integration seamless. Google is one of two solutions that have complete vertical integration. And it's at the forefront of AI. We plan to take full use of Google's innovation now that our contact center platform is tightly coupled with the Google technology stack. That includes Google Cloud, Looker, Insights, BigQuery, Vertex AI, and Dialogflow. So I would like to thank the team, the entire consumer support organization and inside sales organization, my team, T-Tech, and Google for the teamwork to realize our vision. And if anyone else tells you you cannot transform your contact center platform quickly, give me a call. All right, thank you for your time. CTO of
Thanks, Alex. One of the advantages of going last is like I get to say the final words, but also feels very familiar to the world we live in. 3 minutes, faster delivery, very much summarizes what we went through. So I'll quickly go through our digital transformation that was primarily enabled through Dialogflow and the contact center technologies that Google offers. One of the big challenge is traditionally every bank is looked at as slow-paced change, and Wells Fargo is a 174-year-old bank. So we were looking at not just accelerating, but leapfrogging to more modern experiences to keep up with our customer experiences, because we are holding ourselves to higher standards from a digital experience standpoint and want to have a digital parity of providing a similar, familiar experience to the best digital experience the customer prior to landing on the Wells Fargo mobile app. With that, we started off with like some founding principles around making it simplified, personalized, and insightful. And as we went through this journey, we partnered with Google as a part of our strategic partnership. It was publicly announced that we are partnering with Google to transform our entire infrastructure and move our strategic AI assets and data assets into the Google Cloud. And one of the first use case that we started off was the most complex one, which is Fargo. And I'll quickly run through some of the things that Fargo can do. And as it plays, there's no music, but I'll try to talk through. Fargo is our virtual assistant that was launched about 4 months ago in partnership with Google. Behind the scenes, there's the Dialogflow agent. But the whole idea was to make the entire mobile interactions through our app very familiar, little less bank speak, but very natural. And with few tenets that are highly engaging from a customer standpoint. So for example, if you had to look up your financial health or get to the transactions faster, which by the way is the most used feature on our app today. And also any of these steps that you could imagine with any of your banking app that you use, these tend to be multi-step. And we are trying to reduce that amount of time you spend in living in a banking world. Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, hey, I want to do banking. We want to kind of take that friction away. And most importantly, we also want to get to personal insights over a period of time. This is not the CCI insights. That's for different operators. This is for the users. So bottom line, I think we have launched this, and everybody here, we have had several partners from Google, and a whole ecosystem of teams. It definitely does take a village to get something out there. And this also happens to be our first use case on our Google Cloud, virtual private cloud that we had started off. So many learnings, many takeaways. And in terms of the Fargo evolution itself, one of the things that connects back to everything Shantanu was talking about in how we look at evolving the experience, but also tying back to every technology enhancement that is happening, what we would take this forward is from an assistant to an advisor kind of an experience, where over a period of time, these are done for the customers, as opposed to them wanting to go into an app and spending some time doing these activities. Just to quickly go through, this is kind of our high-level blueprint and where Dialogflow sits today. We were very intentional in how we built this one out. Unlike the contact center experiences, this is a digital and a mobile experience. And we modularized every building block with some founding principles around security first, resiliency. And as you can imagine, from a mobile standpoint, the number one adoption factor would be the response times. So we had to make sure that the entire platform was extremely resilient and had extremely fast response times as well. And since this was our first array into going out of our data centers into a Google data center, it wasn't fun, but we had a lot of learnings from that. Okay, that's all of my time. But one takeaway, if you're a Wells Fargo customer and if you have not already engaged with Fargo, please download the app, please go to Fargo, provide your feedback. And connecting back to Shantanu, this is just the journey of where we are. And we are closely partnering with Google around the Trusted Tested program to constantly look at where we can plug in all the new GenAI capabilities into our product. Thank you.